U.S. Representative Alan Lloyd.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. You know, when I got here, I was beginning to think as I walked in that I had misread the dress code memo. And then I saw everybody in coats and ties, and then I saw the mayor, and then I knew I had read it right. But I want you to know, Mr. Mayor, I did wear socks. And I want you also.
You misread the memo.
I also want you to know that the mayor and I are the only two gentlemen with an unrestricted blood supply to our brain. I do want to thank the mayor for his many, many years of hard work to make this happen. And also the city folks, and I know you got 2 years, Councilman here, Councilman Miller and Councilman Gillum. Thank you guys for your work representing the city and the airport. Sincerely appreciate it. Karen, you and Beth, all of your work on behalf of the city and the Economic Development Council. Appreciate it. A lot of hard work. Steve Southerland, it doesn't hurt that the congressman sitting on the airport subcommittee of the transportation committee, so to bring this in for a landing. We're grateful to you also for your work in making that happen. The mayor has explained in detail a little bit about what happened in the efforts that were being made, the strategies that were employed. I want to also thank U.S. Airways and Delta. That swap that was made was where U.S. Airways, I believe, traded some of their landing slots at LaGuardia Airport in New York City for the landing slots at DCA. And that enabled us to eventually get this direct flight. Enabled us, as I would say, arguably, Mayor, if you look at new census data, that we're the third largest state. I think we surpassed New York. If I said that wrong, I'm sure the press here will correct it. They usually do. But it's been a long, hard uphill battle. Mike Minerva, who, by the way, is from Tallahassee, is here representing U.S. Airways today, and we're going to meet him in a few minutes. It doesn't hurt to have somebody from Tallahassee in the Washington office of U.S. Airways making this happen. But Justice Department, Transportation Department, all those, you know, sometimes government moves slowly, much more slowly than we would like for it to. But let me tell you something. It's important that the capital city of the third largest state in the country have direct, non-stop service to the capital of our nation. It is important. And for those of you who don't travel a lot, I will tell you as a person who does, if you got to make a connection, you have just exponentially increased your chances of something being messed up and missing that connection. I cannot tell you, and this is not a knock on Delta because I want to speak to them briefly, but I cannot tell you how many times I've either had to spend the night in a hotel in Atlanta or get in a car and drive home from Atlanta when I was trying to get home from Washington, D.C. And that's going to happen. That won't happen anymore. That won't happen anymore. So I can just, you know, with weather delays and equipment delays and personnel issues, it just when you have a connection, you exponentially increase that probability. I also want to just wind up by thanking the airport staff, as the mayor did. I got to know them over the last 15 or 16 years pretty darn well, and they are wonderful people. They're wonderful staff. And I'm not talking about just the airport employees. I'm talking about TSA, and I'm talking about the folks that I got to know best, the airline folks, was Delta. But now, many of us are going to get to know U.S. Airways better, those of us who travel to Washington, D.C. And as the mayor said, they're good folks working down here. And I think that as a result, we're really going to enjoy this direct service. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having this.
see, this has been a bipartisan effort, and we work together. I wish they could do that in Washington right now, but we'll see what happens later on. All right, it gives me great pleasure now to introduce my colleagues. They have stuck with me. They have supported this effort. They know that often when I go to Washington, I'm trying to do the things best I can to receive not only funds, but to receive benefits other than funds. And this is one of them. You cannot sit back and sit in your city and expect the federal government to just hand things over to you. It doesn't work that way. But so they have been very, very supportive in my effort to obtain this kind of service as well as other things through our Washington connections. And so I want to thank them at this point in time. Two of them are here today, and the first I'll introduce is Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Miller, you want to say a few words? No, she's declining. That's unusual. But thank you. And we also have with us Commissioner Gillum. You want to say a few words? Again, unusual, but that's okay. The other two commissioners, I knew they would want to be here, but obviously they had other things to do today. And they were very, very supportive and have been very, very supportive of this effort as well. Now I get a chance to introduce, as Congressman Boyd has indicated, a native Tallahassean. Went to Leon High School, and now is the Vice President for Legal and Governmental Affairs for, guess what, U.S. Air. We are fortunate. We've got an inroad. We got Congressman Boyd on the Aviation Committee, and now we got the Vice President from Tallahassee, who's Vice President for Legal and Governmental Affairs, Mike Minerva. Mike, where are you?
Introduction, Congressman Boyd, for mentioning me as well. This is a real thrill for me because officially I'm here on behalf of U.S. Airways, but I got to tell you, I feel more like I'm here on behalf of Tallahassee. I am from here. I grew up here. And I'll come back here often. I live in Washington, so it'd be nice to be able to make an non-stop flight. I have a lot of memories of this airport. When I was a little boy, about the age of my son, who's just here with me today, we used to come here when it was just sort of one room. And there was a little bank of seats and a little TV monitor up in the corner, and you could just see everybody get on the plane. We'd take my father here and pick him up when he came back from his trips. And later I used to fly through Atlanta, like everybody used to fly through Atlanta. And then in about the mid-'80s, my mother came back from a trip and she said, you know, I flew in this other airline through Charlotte, and you ought to try that sometime. So I was going off to college, and I did try that. I flew on the airline that was then Piedmont, became U.S. Air, and is now U.S. Airways. Less than 10 years after I took that first flight, I went to work for it. And so now I've come full circle back here to help inaugurate this service today to Washington, D.C. I'm joined today by my colleague Dave Trethewey in the back here, who is our local station manager for U.S. Airways. Congressman Boyd, you mentioned getting to know the people at U.S. Airways. Well, Dave's a Yankee star. He runs the operation here for U.S. Airways. He does a fantastic job. This is a very well-run airport. You've heard that mentioned. I can tell you, part of my portfolio of work is I'm responsible for our airport relationships all around the world. And I see well-run airports and I see poorly run airports. And this airport is extremely well-run. It's well designed. It operates very smoothly. It's one of those airports that I never hear a thing about, which in my job is usually a good thing. But we, like U.S. Airways, really do appreciate the work that Mayor Morris and his administration and that Congressman Boyd and Congressman Southerland and others have done, local chambers, because what you heard described about this transaction we had that allowed us to add this flight, that is all true. Those efforts, those lobbying efforts, those advocacy efforts by elected officials and others in Tallahassee really made a difference in helping this transaction go through. And it's really a big day for us at U.S. Airways to be able to start this service. And we know it's also important for the Department of Transportation, the U.S. Department of Transportation, and Secretary LaHood, who emphasizes service to communities like Tallahassee. It's been said here, and I'll say it again, Tallahassee deserves this service and this essential link between Florida's capital and the nation's capital. I should mention we continue to have other service to Charlotte here from Tallahassee, which gives you one-stop flights to 34 international destinations in 25 countries, as well as a host of domestic destinations as well. So, we now, I would like to present to some of our special guests here today just a little token of our appreciation, something we've come up with. So, I'd like to call up each of the speakers today. We're possibly had an extra guest today, and we will have to forward an extra token of our appreciation. But I'd like to start with Mayor Marks. You can come up.
For security reasons, please
Pleasure.
keep your
If you could show the crowd
I will.
at all
what we
times.
prepared for you today.
This is Tallahassee and Washington etched on this. More is Washington, but Tallahassee is. And it's a nonstop service, Washington, D.C., March 25th, 2012. This is really wonderful. Thank you so much. This is definitely going to a special place. I tell you, I will look at this often and say, wow, we've done it. We've done it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congressman Ward? Congressman Southerland? Commissioner Miller? Deputy Director Taggart? I have to, Deputy Director Taggart is a very intelligent man. Commissioner Gilliland? Boston law is restricted to my brain, but clearly not his. Chairman Moore. Okay. We now, Mayor Marks, if you will join me, we're also going to have a drawing on a $250 US Airways gift card. Terms and conditions may apply.
How do you enter? I can't put. Okay.
Now this is for passengers on the flight. I have made certain I will be on this flight along with my son. I've made certain we don't win. That would be quite embarrassing.
Okay.
All right.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'll pick it.
Okay.
Mix them up.
I'll mix them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I didn't look at it.
They're upside down too. You got it.
There it is. And it is Justine McCullough. You have to be president to win. No, it's not. Justine McCullough. Actually, she's got seat 1A too. So, is she here? Okay. Justine McCullough is the winner of the $250 certificate.
Okay, I now like for Chairman Moore, you can come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. What a great day in Tallahassee. Indeed. Mr. Mayor, thank you for your years of work of making this reality come true. And thank you for the weather for our first flight. We appreciate that also. Certainly our commissioners, our congressmen, our elected officials, our chamber members, and more importantly, the citizens of Tallahassee, Leon County, and the surrounding area. this is a good day for us. You've heard how important it is. But I have to tell you, a friend of mine, Matt Langston, who is a great EDC partner, he of course is chairman of Flightline Group, says to me on a regular basis, Karen, if you want to know what the heartbeat of a community is, then you need to check on the pulse of its airport. And so I'm here to tell you